ago, it's like, it's the end of the franchise. And I'm like, I don't know. It sounds like you're connected to the organization. It sounds like they wanted Bo Nix. Like that was the guy they wanted. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think when you look at it, I mean, I know you're not going to get Caleb Williams, right?
Right.
But I think the next guy, and this is not one of those, this always drives me crazy about the draft, and this is why the same teams are always drafting in the top 10 every year. Pick a quarterback, any quarterback. Pick a receiver, any quarterback. Doesn't matter which one, just any of them. They're all the same. Well, they're not all the same. And I think they did their due diligence. One of the reasons they worked out a guy like Caleb Williams, one of the reasons they met with guys like Jaden Daniels, one of the reasons they went and saw Drake May was to compare what we want, what we're looking for, and does our guy Bo Nix give us that? So I think there's no question that the due diligence was done and that Bo Nix was the guy that felt like, hey, man, he's quick release and he gets the ball out on time. And I always say, accuracy and timing. And I will tell you, you can't be accurate in the National Football League without being on time. So being on time and accuracy go hand in hand. If you're late with the football, you won't be accurate with the football. It just doesn't work. It's like a pitcher. Everything's got to be in sync. There's a kinetic chain that goes into throwing the football. So this is the guy that to me was the most on time and the most accurate in college football. And then I hear he doesn't have a big arm. Who gives a rip doesn't have a big arm? When was the last time you saw somebody throw it 67 yards for a touchdown in the air? It doesn't. Yeah. You don't have time to do it. It doesn't happen in the NFL. By the way, every deep ball, every go ball that is thrown in the NFL comes off of 5-step drop timing with no hitches. Meaning that ball is out. As an offensive lineman, I always used to listen for it. Like what route combination, what's the timing of that throw? Because that 5-yard or that 5-step drop that's out right now, I can actually treat that like a 3-step drop. And that ball is going to come down somewhere between the numbers and the sideline at about 42 to 47 yards. Because if you hold it on a 7-step drop and you run a go route, the receivers will outrun the quarterback's arms. The only time you'll see that next season, a 65, 70-yard ball in the air that's complete is on a Hail Mary. That's it. So the big arm thing, no, if you've got timing, you're accurate. The big arm thing doesn't matter. The other thing, really quick, the Fangio effect. Everybody plays that shell defense now, which really Fangio really brought back in the league. Everybody's playing a form of cover 3. Everybody's playing that shell defense, which is saying, you're not getting over the top of us. We're going to keep 2 guys deep. So what you're going to have to do is throw it underneath. That's the whole league. That's the way the league operates. So wouldn't you like to have the most accurate, the most on-time football player that there is in the draft at the quarterback position? I would argue this. The guy who's set up to have the best situation, the best fit, of all the quarterbacks drafted is Bo Nix going to Denver with Sean Payton.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking as you were talking about that, Mark. Brady had one great deep threat his whole career in New England. Moss.
Mm-hmm. He didn't win a Super Bowl.
The only great receiver ever had he didn't win a Super Bowl with. When they had Welker and Edelman and Deion Branch, and it was death by 1,000 cuts and Gronk, you couldn't stop them. They were the best third down team. By the way, the fastest deep threat in the league is Tyreek Hill, and his quarterback doesn't throw a great deep ball. Kansas City this year, since they let go of Tyreek Hill, they've been a death by 1,000 cuts underneath offense, and they've won Super Bowls. So to your point, the deep ball is one of those. It's a very 70s, 80s thing, but not that many teams that are great throw consistently a deep ball. Now,
Okay, so let's talk Bo Nix. So you hear what, Mark is saying? He's saying that the Broncos absolutely wanted Bo Nix. Bo Nix didn't drop to them. Like, that's who they wanted. That's where they thought that they were going to be able to draft him, so they didn't have to do anything else. Just kind of like how badly the Chiefs wanted Mahomes. They didn't have to trade up to the first pick. Because someone said in the comments the other day, oh, you really think this is who the Broncos wanted? If they had the number 1 pick, they wouldn't have picked Caleb Williams? And it's like, I don't know, honestly, at this point. If we take these reports seriously, it's that they wanted Peyton, without a doubt. I mean, they wanted Bo Nix. And they believe him, based off the analytics and their due diligence, that he is the most accurate quarterback in the draft. the most accurate, and the most on time, which really, really matters, obviously. Obviously, the more accurate, the better. And I've seen someone try to say, I've seen a couple complaints, right? Like Mark said about the deep ball, which they just unpacked as like that's a little overrated, which I agree. And then you have someone say that he only played a pro-style offense for one season and it was bad. Therefore, he's going to be bad in the pros. And I just find that head-scratching. I really, really do. To say that he's not going to be able to run a pro-style offense with Sean Payton as his head coach and his already, incredibly high levels of accuracy and timing, that he's not going to be able to do what needs to be done. And the best thing about Bo Nix, and this is what I said the other day, is his humility. He is serious. He is ready to go and to learn. So I think he is in the best situation with the Broncos versus these other situations, because the Broncos, I understand that the Broncos haven't been mega successful over the last, X amount of years. I get that. But they are still a stable, non-controversial team. They're not the Commanders or the Giants. They realized Russell Wilson is not good, and then they thought they made a splash play that they thought was going to be successful. And kudos to the Broncos for taking that chance. Okay? It didn't work out. Then they moved on. The coach they realized was not a good coach. They moved on. They didn't let it linger. They didn't let it become more of a disaster. They didn't hire then another bad head coach. They didn't do what the Cleveland Browns do, what the Carolina Panthers do, what the Dallas Cowboys do. They went out and said, all right, enough of this. Let's get Sean Payton in here. He'll fix it. Sean Payton came in, tried to do everything he could with Russell Wilson, definitely improved the team from the season before. It wasn't good enough. And Sean Payton said, we got to move on from Russell Wilson. Yep, we'll take the dead cat money, whatever, but we got to do something. And they did it. They're making moves. The best teams in the NFL make moves, okay? The Ravens make moves. The Chiefs make moves. The Eagles make moves. The Patriots, once upon a time, made moves. So that's what happened. The 49ers make moves. The Rams made moves. They went out and got Sean McVay. They tried things with Goff. Said, I need a better quarterback right now. We have a win now roster. They made the move and got an older Matthew Stafford. Won a Super Bowl. So that's what it takes. That's what it takes. And so I really think that Bo Nix is going to thrive in this situation. The more I learn, the more I start to kind of consider what's coming out of these camps and how badly the Broncos and Peyton wanted him. I think it's I believe that they believe he is for real. And again, what I always say is people are so confident that he's not, or that these other players aren't or are, and I just think to myself, where do you have any of this confidence? Like consistently in the draft, in the first round with these quarterbacks, they consistently are not good. They consistently are busts. They consistently do not win Super Bowls. It's always random of who ends up being a true amazing quarterback. It's not Sam Darnold. It's not Baker Mayfield, but it is Patrick Mahomes. It is Josh Allen. Joe Burrow was a number one pick and came up and said, I'm a number one pick. And it was like, yes, you are. You are a bona fide number one pick, right? Like that made sense. Dak Prescott came out of nowhere. Tom Brady obviously famously came out of nowhere. And for the most part, Patrick Mahomes came out of the middle of nowhere, okay? So I just think that this whole thing of everyone being so confident that Bo Nix is not good or that he's not going to be good is comically absurd to me. Comically absurd. The reality is we have no idea how good any of these quarterbacks are going to be. None. But I am confident that he has a high ceiling. That I am confident. And I do believe that he is in the best situation because he is with a truly established offensive head coach who's been around the block, who's worked with multiple quarterbacks, who's had obviously won a Super Bowl, has achieved high levels of success, has even had some lows, pretty big lows, has learned from them. He's gone through it. Some of these other coaches who are good but are younger, they have to continue to fail. They have to continue to grow. Coaches grow just like players. A hotshot coach that's a genius that becomes the head coach, it could take him years to continue to grow and mature. People talk about, Shanahan. They're like, and even McVay. They lost the Super Bowl. Shanahan lost multiple times. And it's like, well, you know what? He's only been a head coach for so long. It takes some time. You have to make those mistakes. You have to fail in order to succeed. And that's where Sean Payton is and the Denver Broncos. And I think that's where Bo Nix will be able to really thrive, because he's going to be in a situation that is significantly better than where a lot of these other quarterbacks went. A lot. Okay? I'd rather go to Sean Payton with the Denver Broncos than, the Carolina Panthers. I mean, let's be serious here. The Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who can't get an offense going for their life. The Falcons, who now have multiple, who pay a 36-year-old with a torn Achilles a gajillion dollars and say, well, we're going to also draft a quarterback too. It's like, wait, what? So you have a lot of these franchises not making any moves that make sense. And I think what the Broncos did made 100% sense, especially based on what they truly believe. So be on the lookout for Bo Nix, because I think a lot of people will be eating crow this coming season. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Do you think Bo Nix is going to be great? Do you think Bo Nix is truly the most accurate quarterback in the draft and is in the best situation? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.